Picture this. You are sitting on your couch on a Sunday evening, maybe watching something mindless on Netflix. You pull out your phone to check your bank account. Not because you need to buy anything, but because it just feels good to look at it. You see that number sitting there. Maybe it is $10,000. Maybe you have been grinding for years and managed to stack $50,000 in that savings account. And when you see those digits glowing back at you from that screen, something warm washes over your chest. You feel safe. You feel responsible. You feel like you're doing exactly what a smart, disciplined adult is supposed to do. Your parents told you to save. Your teachers told you to save. Every piece of conventional wisdom you have ever absorbed told you that the person with cash in the bank wins. And honestly, I get it. That feeling of looking at a fat savings account is like a weighted blanket for your financial anxiety. It whispers to you that everything is going to be okay. But here is the thing that really gets me. That whisper is a lie, and it is an expensive one, because while you are sitting there feeling proud of your $50,000, something invisible is happening to every single dollar in that account. Right now, today, the average savings account in America pays you somewhere around 0.4% interest annually. Meanwhile, inflation, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, has been running at roughly 3% or higher year after year. So let me do the math that your bank is desperately hoping you never do. If your bank pays you 0.4% and inflation takes 3%, you are not earning money. You are losing 2.6% of your purchasing power every single year. That is not a savings account. That is a leaky bucket with a fancy label on it. You are not protecting your wealth. You are watching it dissolve in slow motion, like an ice sculpture at a wedding reception that everyone keeps admiring while it quietly melts into a puddle on the floor. Let me put a real number on this so it actually hits. If you have $50,000 sitting in a standard savings account today, in 10 years that money will only buy what $37,000 buys right now. You just lost $13,000. You did not spend it. You did not get scammed by some guy in your DMs. You did not blow it on anything fun. You lost $13,000 by doing absolutely nothing, by being responsible, by following the rules. $13,000 gone, evaporated, and the bank will never send you a notification about that loss because they are too busy using your deposits to fund car loans at 7% and credit cards at 25%, while flicking you a few pennies in return. Now you might be thinking, okay, but at least my money is safe, right? At least I am not losing it in the stock market. And look, I understand that instinct, that fear is real. It lives deep in your brain, in the part that evolved to keep you alive during winters, when food was scarce, and every resource had to be hoarded. Behavioral economists call it loss aversion. The pain of watching your investment drop by $1,000 hits your nervous system twice as hard as the joy of watching it gain $1,000. So your brain does the math and says, keep the cash, avoid the pain, stay safe. But here is the cruel irony. Your brain is protecting you from a danger you can see, which is market volatility, while completely ignoring a danger you cannot see, which is inflation, silently eating your future. It is like refusing to leave a burning building because you are afraid of the cold air outside. The thing that feels safe is the thing that is actually destroying you. And the banks know this. They are counting on it. Their entire business model is built on the assumption that you will keep feeding your money into their system, because the fear of losing it somewhere else is stronger than the math that proves you are already losing it right here. I call this the silent heist. And by the time we are done today, you will see exactly how deep this goes, why your biology is being weaponized against your wealth, and most importantly, what you can actually do about it. Now you might be thinking, but my parents told me to save. My grandparents told me to save. Every responsible adult told me to save. And look, I get it. That advice made sense 50 years ago when a savings account actually paid you 5 to 6% interest. Your grandparents weren't wrong. They were just living in a completely different financial universe. The problem is the rules changed and nobody bothered to update the playbook they handed you. Let's tear apart the myths one by one, because there are at least 4 massive lies baked into the cash is king mentality, actively destroying your wealth right now. The first lie is that saving money is the same as building wealth. It is not. They are fundamentally different activities. Saving is the act of not spending. Building wealth is the act of making your money reproduce. When your uncle says he is building his nest egg by stacking cash in a savings account earning 0.4%, he is not building anything. He is watching his purchasing power shrink by roughly $1,300 a year on every $50,000 he holds. That is like filling a bathtub with the drain open and congratulating yourself on how much water you're adding. Technically, you're pouring water in, but you're still losing. The second lie is that the stock market is gambling, and this one drives me absolutely crazy because it reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of what investing actually is. When you buy an index fund, you are not placing a bet on red at a roulette table. You are buying fractional ownership of the 500 most profitable companies on the planet. Companies that sell you your toothpaste, your phone, your electricity, your medication. According to data going back nearly a century, the S&P 500 has never lost money over any 20-year rolling period. Never, not during the Great Depression, not during the dot-com crash, not during 2008. Calling that gambling is like calling breathing risky, because sometimes people choke. Technically possible, statistically absurd as a reason to stop doing it entirely. The third lie is the big one, and I call it the stability illusion. This is the idea that because the number in your bank account doesn't change, your money is safe. Your bank balance says $50,000 today. It says $50,000 tomorrow. It feels solid. It feels stable. But here is what most people don't think about. That number is a lie. It is a nominally fixed figure masking a purchasing power that is in constant decline. Your investment account might show $50,000 one day and $45,000 the next, and your stomach drops. But 5 years from now, that investment account is statistically likely to show $80,000. While your savings account still shows $50,000 that now buys what $42,000 used to. You are choosing the option that feels safe over the option that actually is safe, and those are two very different things. The fourth lie is that you need a massive cash reserve for emergencies. Now, I want to be careful here because I am not saying you need zero cash. What I am saying is that the definition of emergency fund has been weaponized by the financial industry to keep way more of your money sitting in their vaults than you actually need. Most genuine emergencies, a car repair, a medical bill, an unexpected job loss, can be covered by 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. If your monthly burn rate is $4,000, that means $12,000 to $24,000 in a high-yield savings account, not $50,000, not $100,000. Everything above that cap is money you are donating to inflation for absolutely no reason. And here is the thing that really gets me. The same banks telling you to keep more cash in savings are the ones lending your deposits out at 7% on mortgages and 24% on credit cards. They are not protecting you. They are profiting from your fear. The entire architecture of traditional banking advice, the save 6 months, then save more, then save even more mantra, isn't designed to make you wealthy. It is designed to make them wealthy using your capital as the raw material. Your parents passed down the best advice they had, but that advice was forged in an economy that no longer exists. And clinging to it now is costing you a future you can't afford to lose. Here is what actually works, and I'm going to give you the exact blueprint so you can stop bleeding money by this weekend. I call this the liquidity ladder, and it has 3 rungs that determine exactly where every single dollar you own needs to live. Rung 1 is your sleep well buffer. This sits in your checking account and covers 1 month of essential expenses, plus a small cushion so you never overdraft. If your monthly burn rate is $3,500, you keep about $4,000 in checking. That is it. You don't care about earning interest on this money. This is operational grease. It keeps the engine of your daily life running. Think of it like gas in your car's tank. You need enough to get where you're going, but you don't fill your entire trunk with extra fuel cans just in case. Rung 2 is your actual emergency fund, and here is where most people go completely off the rails. This money lives in a high-yield savings account, not your regular bank that is paying you 0.01% like it is doing you a favor. Right now, high-yield savings accounts from online banks are paying 4 to 5% AP. That is not amazing, but it is roughly 400 times more than what the big traditional banks offer. If you're single and renting, you need 3 months of essential expenses here. If you have a family, a mortgage, or variable income, aim for 6 months. Let me be specific. If your essential monthly costs are $4,000, your emergency fund cap is between $12,000 and $24,000. Write that number down. That is your ceiling. Once you hit it, you stop filling this bucket, period. Every additional dollar that flows into this account after it is full is a dollar that is dying a slow death. Now, here is rung 3, and this is where the entire game changes. This is your wealth engine. Every single dollar that comes in above your emergency fund cap gets immediately deployed into productive assets. The first place to look is tax-advantaged accounts. If your employer offers a 401k with a match, that match is literally free money, and not maxing it out is like finding a $100 bill on the ground and walking past it. After that, a Roth IRA lets you contribute up to $7,000 a year and never pay taxes on the growth. Ever. If you do the math on $7,000 a year at a 10% average return over 30 years, you are looking at roughly $1.27 million in tax-free money. Once those are maxed, everything else goes into a regular taxable brokerage account, invested in low-cost index funds like a total stock market fund with expense ratios under 0.1%. Now I know what you're going to say. What if I dump all my money in and the market crashes next week? Fair concern. And here is how you handle it. Take your excess cash, the amount sitting above your emergency fund cap, and divide it into 6 equal chunks. Set up an automatic transfer to move one chunk into your investment account on the first of every month for 6 months. This is called dollar cost averaging, and it is not just a strategy, it is a psychological hack. If the market drops after your first transfer, you don't panic, you actually benefit. Because next month's automatic transfer buys more shares at a lower price, which reduces your average cost per share. You've turned volatility from your enemy into your employee. And here is the thing that really gets me about the tax angle. Interest earned in your savings account gets taxed at your ordinary income rate, which could be 22, 24% or higher. Meanwhile, long-term capital gains on investments held over a year get taxed at just 15% for most people. So you're not only earning dramatically less in a savings account, you're also paying a higher tax rate on those pathetic earnings. That is like getting a smaller paycheck and then having a bigger chunk taken out of it. The system is literally taxing your fear. The automation piece is critical. Set a threshold on your checking account. Let us say $4,500. Anytime your balance exceeds that number, the excess automatically sweeps into your brokerage account. You remove yourself from the decision entirely, because your primitive brain will always try to convince you to keep more cash than you need. Automation defeats emotion every single time. But perhaps the most important shift here isn't mechanical, it is identity. You have to stop calling yourself a saver and start thinking of yourself as a capital allocator. Every dollar is an employee. If that employee is sitting in your checking account doing nothing, it is sleeping on the job, and you need to reassign it to a department where it actually produces something. Here is what I need you to do right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not after you do more research, which is just code for doing nothing while inflation eats another slice of your paycheck. Right now, I need you to kill the saver, that identity you've been carrying around like a badge of honor since your parents told you to put your birthday money in the bank. It is dead weight. It is a costume that makes you feel responsible while you quietly bleed out financially. You are not a saver. You never were. You were a deposit machine for a bank that used your fear as fuel. And honestly, I'm not even mad at the banks for doing it. I'm mad that nobody told you the game had rules. You weren't reading. Look, I know what some of you are thinking right now. This means throwing my life savings into the stock market during all this uncertainty. No, that is not what I said. Go back and listen. I said, cap your cash at what you actually need and deploy the rest. There is a massive difference between being reckless and being strategic. And the fact that most people can't tell the difference is exactly why the safety trap works so well. Here is your new identity. You are a capital allocator. Every single dollar you earn is an employee on your payroll. And right now, most of your employees are asleep in a savings account earning you nothing, while the bank works them a double shift on the lending floor. You would pay a real employee to sit in a break room for 30 years. So why are you doing it with your money? The person you were before this video looked at a $50,000 bank balance and felt safe. The person you need to become looks at that same number and feels sick because they can see the $650,000 in future wealth rotting behind it. That is not a savings account. That is a graveyard for your retirement. And here is the thing that really gets me. The action plan is almost embarrassingly simple. Step 1. Pull up your last 3 months of bank statements tonight and calculate your actual monthly burn rate. Not what you think you spend, what you actually spend. Step 2. Multiply that number by 6. That is your cash cap, the maximum amount of money that should ever sit in cash. Step 3. Take every dollar above that cap and open a brokerage account, not tomorrow, tonight. Most platforms let you do it in 8 minutes from your phone. Step 4. If dumping it all in at once makes your stomach turn, split it into 6 equal chunks. Automate a monthly transfer into a low-cost total market index fund. Set it, forget it, and let compounding do what it does. Step 5. And this is the one nobody talks about. Delete your savings account app from your home screen and put your brokerage app there instead. Because what you look at every day shapes what you believe. And you need to start believing that your net worth lives in assets, not in a number. A bank is slowly deflating like a leaky tire. Now you might be thinking this is easy for someone to say who already has money. But that is exactly backwards. This matters most when you don't have much, because when you only have $10,000 or $20,000, every single idle dollar costs you proportionally more of your future. The less you have, the more aggressive you need to be about making it work. Remember that person at the beginning of this video, the one staring at their bank balance, feeling proud and responsible. That person was you 20 minutes ago. But that person didn't know what you know now. They didn't understand the silent heist. They didn't see the liquidity ladder. They didn't realize their comfort was being invoiced at $650,000 over a lifetime. You are not that person anymore. You are someone who understands that real safety doesn't come from a pile of cash that shrinks every year. It comes from owning a piece of the machine that actually builds wealth. The banks will keep running their game, whether you participate or not. The only question is whether you'll keep funding their profits with your fear or finally redirect that money toward your own future. The math doesn't care about your feelings, but your future self absolutely does. If this changed how you think about that number sitting in your bank account, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.